Okay, this tutorial gets... What? Don't believe this guy. It's actually a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. Okay, so today we're making a pickup mechanism, and I'll show you guys obviously first what we're going to build, and then we're going to build it together. I will not explain too much in the tutorial. I will just build it with you guys, and questions can be asked later. So let's go into it. Okay, so what we are going to build is a pickup mechanism, which allows us to pick up items from the floor and give it into our inventory, which is very cool for maps where you have to find like hidden things or whatever, and it can also have a little bit of more detail to map when you make it like this. So let's see how it works. So we go here, just pick up the trash, and we picked up a trash, we get a nice line, a nice sound effect, and we have picked it up. It's not here anymore, and it's super nice. But Richie, you could also just use the item spawner and use like this. It's much simpler. I see you're very smart, sir. But obviously using this is very lazy, and also using this for hidden stuff is not the greatest thing because you cannot make it smaller. You can also just use items that you can put in your inventory, and there are a lot of things which are not obviously doable with this. First of all, it's not very hidden. There's a huge thing which says rust can, and obviously we like to make things more detailed. So let's start with the tutorial. Okay, so starting off with the things that we need an item grinder, and in that item grinder should be the item of your choice. For me, it's the trash can, but it can be obviously everything that you want to pick up. Next one, we have the button. We need the button. It's the key part of our whole mechanism. We also need the explosive device. We need the prop that looks like the item that we are going to pick up. Can be everything that can be destroyed, and that is basically all. We also need the HUD message device, and we need the speaker. So let's say you don't really need those. These are like the super extras on top. If you don't want to use them for whatever reason, then you don't need to. But I like to use them because it gives that extra detail, which is super nice. The first thing that we want to do is we want to place our prop in the proper position. So for me, it would be somewhere here. But obviously this is just a testing terrain, so obviously it's not very hidden or whatever. But we're gonna place it somewhere here. So we place the prop. Nice. First step finished. So the next thing that we need is the button. So first of all, we just can go over here and place it somewhere near it, so we have it in the broad position, and then we can go into the customizations and change a lot of stuff. So let's go into these settings. So obviously we want to disable the sound. We don't want the button to make any sounds by itself. Next thing is the interaction text. So you obviously have to put in whatever you want to put up. For me, it's pick up trash, but you can obviously pick up what a weapon, pick up torch or whatever. You can put up everything that is in here. Next thing, we also want to make it non-visible, and then the interaction radius. So this depends obviously on you. If you want to have like a very hidden thing, then you can put it down to 0.25, or if you want to have it very easy and put it to meters or whatever. So I put it to 0.5, but it really depends on you. So the next thing is the channels. So you don't need the disable channels. And also same thing goes for the enable channels. For me, I want to have this item picked up once and then never again. But if you, for example, would have to want it to pick up ever again, like you can pick it up multiple times, then you obviously can leave it to, can just leave it enabled. So, but we're going to disable it. So we leave it to disable, get that a channel. And obviously the interact with transmit on is very important because that is our key channel. So the reason why I use the same channels is because if I interact with the can, you can say, or with the button, it's immediately going to disable the button. So the first time I'm going to pick up the trash, it's gone. I cannot use the button again. I cannot get trash anymore or whatever. So it's picked up and I can never use it again. That's great. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to set up our item grinder. So obviously place down your item of choice into the item grinder and then place the item grinder somewhere where you need it. Obviously you can place it wherever because the item grinder is limited and there's no range or whatever. So you can place it below your map, across the map, whatever. Just do wherever you feel like having to place it. Okay, so let's go into the item grinder. So there's only actually one thing that you need to change, and that is the grant item when receiving from. So that will obviously give the player the item. If you want to have, for example, the whole team getting the items, then you have to change the receiving players to all players or triggering team or whatever. So keep that in mind. And obviously what you have to do is give it the same channel as the interact button on your button. So that is very important that these are the same, otherwise you would obviously not get granted anything. And we're done with that. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to place our barrel, our explosive barrel. And what this device will do is it will destroy the prop, and it will look like that we actually picked up the prop. So what we can do is we can place it under here. We can also place it basically on top of here, but I like to keep it clean, so I like to place it under the devices or under the props. And place it somewhere here, and then go into the device and change some settings. First of all, the blast radius to the lowest possible. We don't want to damage, we want to keep the radius of explosion as low as possible. Obviously, if you have a lot of stuff around here, it could possibly destroy other things. So keep that in mind, that nothing else get destroyed that should not get destroyed or whatever. So that's very important. Play damage, change it to 0. Structure damage to the lowest possible, so that's 5. The damage indestructible buildings, so depends on obviously if you have them on or not. So I would recommend just turning that to yes, just to make sure. The knockback to off, audio obviously to none, and the visible game also to none. You can change that, but you don't need to. Play audio obviously also none, and obviously the same thing as with the item granter, change that to the channel of the button, so that would be 2. And that should work just fine. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to remove our button here, and then we want to damage our can or our prop here. The reason for that is obviously we set the damage of the explosive device to 5. And I think there's no device or no prop in the game which has only 5 HP. There could be some, but most of them has at least like 25 or something. Same goes for this prop here. So you want to check if our prop is actually low enough to get damaged or get destroyed. So what we can do is we can go into our settings, not these settings, the island settings actually. I want to go in here, go to our settings, and then we go to our weapon destruction. Make sure to change that back if you're making the game or whatever, and set that to 10%. That's the lowest, I think. Yes it is. Okay, so set that to 10%, then take the gun with the lowest damage possible DPS or whatever. Go in here, it should be this one. Yeah, it should be this one, and then select it and copy the device first of all. For example, if you don't know it, then just copy it before you shoot something. Copy it, test it out, and you can see, oh yeah, it's 25. So how many times we need to shoot it to make it actually 1 HP? So that's great. And we just can shoot it a couple times here. Okay, we can shoot it like this. I know. Yeah, that was that. Yeah. So we can shoot it a couple times. So now it's on 1 HP, and that is great. So this device would 100% get destroyed. And we can move a button over here again, leave it on top of here. Now it can be a little bit more precise because, now it has to be perfect. And perfect, this is done. Okay, so now we have to do only 2 more things, and we can leave them just here because it doesn't matter where they are in the map. We have to go into the HUD message device and, put the message, you picked up the trash or you picked up whatever, put in whatever you picked up here. Then message to whatever people should get the message. Obviously, I only wanted to get the triggering player. From the round start, turn it to off. Text style is your choice. Play sound, do that to none because we have the speaker. And then show when, obviously the same one as the button. That's channel 2. And same goes for the speaker. Put in whatever audio you want to have. I want reward 1. Sound distance, whole island, depending on how far people should hear it. It's also depending on you. And activate when receiving, also channel 2. Same as the button. And now I can check if it actually works. Okay, so let's see if it actually works, if our hard work paid out, and we can pick up the trash. Super amazing. It's a super nice and detailed way of picking up things. And I highly recommend using this method instead of just using an item granter, because it just gives a little detail and people will recognize that in your maps. And that is great. So let me know if you have any questions. Obviously, comments down below. You get the deal. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.